The man who cut his own arm off to survive. This here is a true survival story, and this is why preparation is not an option, especially if you're going to be hiking or going out on like a little day trip out in the bush, or whether you're in a canyon in the mountains. This is why you always have something with you and you're prepared. Let's get right into this story. It's a pretty wild story. Very lucky to still be alive today. Survival stories normally start off with a mistake, but not really this one. This one started off just with pure confidence. In April of 2003, Aron Ralston went on what should have been a routine solo hike in Utah. There wasn't any storms, there wasn't any bears, there wasn't any alligators. There's no dramatic signs that he was in danger until there was. There's just a canyon and a single moment that changed everything. And by the end of this story, there's one man that was forced to do the unthinkable. Not because he wanted to, but it was all that he could do to stay alive. So let's get into it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, like the video, comment below what you would do in his situation, what you would have taken to maybe help yourself if you would have gotten this situation. And yeah, let's get right into it. Aron wasn't new to the outdoors. He wasn't careless. He wasn't reckless. He was a skilled mountaineer. Yeah, a confident solo hiker, and someone that really just trusted his experience. This trust became his blind spot, and Aron made 3 critical decisions this day. He went alone. He didn't tell anybody where he was going, and he packed very light. And in a lot of people's minds, he packed too light. He had no emergency beacon, no sort of emergency cell phone. He had minimum water. He had minimum food, and he had a dull tool. He had a little multi-tool instead of something that could really help out in a situation. Keep in mind, it did keep him alive, which is awesome and amazing, but he only had one tool that he could use to really get out of the situation that he was in. Nothing felt dangerous at all to him. It was just like me and you. When we go out in the woods where, we tell our family, we're just going to go out here and hang out. We're going to have fun. I'll be back in a couple hours, whatever. I don't know, me personally, sometimes I tell him where I'm going. Sometimes I just go out in the woods. Now, that was his biggest mistake, was not telling people where he was. He didn't feel any danger. He didn't feel like he was in any danger until he was. The Blue John Canyon is a slot canyon, and it's got really deep veins in it, it has tall stone walls, has narrow passages, boulders, and wedges in place, and they've been there forever and ever. These canyons are absolutely beautiful. If you look up pictures on Google, check out some YouTube videos of these canyons. They're absolutely mind-blowing. And as I look at the pictures here, and I'll go ahead and put some up here, these are the pictures. Look at them canyons, man. They're super beautiful, but they're unforgiving at the most. And as Aron descended deeper, he climbed down using a large boulder for leverage, which the way these canyons are shaped, there was a large boulder, and he's trying to go down there and get some leverage. And it said then it just moved. It moved on him. This boulder was a 2,000-pound rock that shifted without warning. No warning at all. And I think we've all been there where we step on something, we think it'll hold us, and then it just moves. And that's exactly what happened. But here's a couple different more pictures of this canyon and what it looked like down there. But in less than a second, it slammed against him, pinned him. He was stuck. He couldn't move. He couldn't get free. Excruciating pain. You can only imagine your arm being crushed by a boulder up against rocks. It really, really hurt. It wasn't dramatic at all. It wasn't, like in the movies, dramatic falls and all this stuff. It just happened. It happened in 2 seconds. And it changed everything for the course of about 5 days. And he tried everything to get out. He tried pushing, pulling, bracing his legs, digging around the rock. He tried everything in his power to get freed from this rock. But as we all know, all that pressure and leverage on your arm, good luck, right? The canyon was empty. There's no voices. There's no footsteps. No chance of someone passing by at all, unless he got lucky and somebody else that likes to explore like he did show up. But, that just didn't happen. So no one was there, and he knew it. He knew he was there alone. You know, and then the waiting. Let's talk about the waiting time. As we all know, at nighttime, man, it gets cold and it's just horrible. Hours turned into days for him. He rationed water down to mouthfuls, then drops. You know, that would be horrible to be so thirsty you can only do a little drop of water and you're going crazy. You don't know what to do. After that, you know, the sun rose, sun fell. Sun rose, sun fell. Temperature shifted. His arm began to die, and we can all know that because when your arm is pressed so far and you start losing that blood flow in your arm, it's just going to kill that part of the limb off, right? It's just going to kind of wither away. It's not getting any blood flow whatsoever. You know, he recorded goodbye messages to his family, believing that he would be found there. He'd just be found right there. He didn't think he was getting out. He didn't think he had a chance at all. And after all these goodbye messages and stuff, he started having hallucinations. And, you know, it dawned on him. Rescue isn't coming. It's not an option for me at this time. I need to figure out something that I can do to get out of this situation that I'm in. Because if I don't, well, this is going to be my burial grave until someone finds me, right? So on the 5th day of Aron being stuck with this boulder down in that canyon, he made a decision. He didn't decide to escape, not like escape, but he made a decision to sacrifice. And this is the part, like in the last video, I told you, I don't know if many people would actually do this. You would have to be at your last wit, and you'd have to be like, man, I'm done. I need to get out of here, or I'm literally done. Using his own body weight, he snapped the bones in his arms, and then he proceeded to take his multi-tool and amputate his own arm, slowly, deliberately, and consciously. No shock, no passing out, just pure willpower and him wanting to survive. And he did survive and was able to tell this story. Pain, pure pain became the price of his life at that particular time, and he was one of the ones that's willing to do it. So after Aron freed himself, he rappelled down the canyon. He hiked for miles with no arm, and he finally encountered other hikers. Could you imagine that? Dude just cut his own arm with a multi-tool. He cut it off. He climbed down the canyon. He hiked down, and he found other hikers. Holy cow. Do you guys know how much willpower that takes? Especially, he's in excruciating pain. He had no painkillers, no nothing. He just cut his arm off, and he's going down this mountain. That is crazy. This story later became the movie 127 Hours. If you haven't seen the movie, you need to go check it out. It is an awesome movie. It's a whole movie, kind of replicates what happened to him and how he lived. This is a true real life story. And it's more important than just a movie, right? So what do we learn off of situations like this? What can we do to prepare ourselves so if we were in a situation like this, we wouldn't have to be there for 5 days. We wouldn't have to be there. You know, maybe we wouldn't even have to cut our own arm off. What could he have done differently to not cut his own arm off? Well, that's what we're going to go over as well. So this wasn't about strength. This was about toughness. This happened because of small choices, guys. Little choices like, oh, I'll be fine. I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. I've hiked thousands of times. Nothing's ever happened to me. Well, this time preparation felt unnecessary, so he wasn't prepared enough for it, and this is what happened. So this just goes to show that a little bit of preparation could go a long way. And you only have to prep for it one time, right? Depending on what you're doing. Get you a little kit made, prepare, put tools in it that you think you'll need, and I'll mention some tools that I believe that you should carry if you're doing something like that. Get you a little pack made up, and it could just be a little pack that you carry on your bag or on your waist or whatever, and this will be your oh crap, I'm in a bad situation pack. If he would have had something like that, it could have possibly saved him his arm or saved him a couple other things. You never know. But anyways, what this teaches, well, always tell someone where you're going first off. Never trust experience over redundancy. I can tell you that now. And also, carry some real tools. You know, he had a multi-tool and that's all he was carrying with him. That's not a lot, guys. That's not a lot at all. He carried minimum water. He ran out of water 5 days. And what you have to assume in a situation like this is help isn't arriving. Help isn't coming for you. You're pretty much on your own in that type of situation until your family realizes that, hey, he hasn't come home, or hey, I haven't talked to him in days, or, you know, and then they finally get the word out to some people that could come help you. But he didn't, no one knew, right? He didn't tell anybody. He was stuck for 5 days in excruciating pain with his arm literally dying right off of his own body. Some good tools that I would recommend highly carrying when you're out in the bush, even if you're using a chainsaw out in the woods, you know, collecting firewood, anything, highly, highly, highly recommend this one item: a tourniquet. Tourniquets are always perfect for a wide variety of situations. I have a tourniquet in my bag. I have a tourniquet in my truck. I always try to carry a tourniquet because you never know when you cut yourself, when you'll need that tourniquet to save your life or one of your relatives' life or somebody that you're with's life, right? So carry a tourniquet, carry a good multi-tool, carry you some painkillers. There's a whole list of items. First aid is a big one. Antiseptic wipes, a bottle of rubbing alcohol. As much as it would burn if you had to cut your arm off, as much as it would burn to put that alcohol on there, it's not near as bad as cutting your own arm off, right? After you cut your own arm off, everything after that's pretty easy. Just dump your rubbing alcohol on there. And before you cut, if you had to cut your arm off, you put your tourniquet on, tighten it down, put the time that you put it on there, cut your arm off, put you some rubbing alcohol on there, and then now you want to carry bandages. And you want to bandage it up real good so nothing gets inside of that wound. And then if you had a satellite phone, which is something I would highly recommend if you're in a remote location like that, carry a satellite phone with you so that you can call out to whoever you need to and say, hey, I just got pinned, I got freed, I had to cut my own arm off, I need help, and I need help now. Another thing this story tells us is you need to carry some water, guys. If you think one big bottle, 32 ounce of water is good for your day, for your hike, carry just another bottle, just a little extra. You know, a little extra goes a long way. You can also carry them electrolyte packets. Pour in your water, gives you a little more electrolytes, something that you can need. And also carry something like jerky, small dried foods that you can eat on if you had to throughout a couple of days. Highly, highly recommend taking some sort of dry goods that are already cooked. You know, if you're in his situation, you're not going to be able to cook them. All you're going to be able to do is drink your water, reach in your dry good bag, eat your dry goods, and do what you need to do that way. Also, if he would have had some sort of survival blanket or something, he could have wrestled it over top of him with one arm and just stayed a little more warm, a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, he wasn't super comfortable because he had to cut his own arm off, which is crazy, right? But if he would have had just a couple little more things, he would have been more comfortable, and he would have been better. You can carry small bottles of betadine, and they're really small bottles of really good antiseptic stuff that you put all over your wound, and it keeps bad bacteria from really infecting your wound. I'd highly recommend carrying a little kit. I mean, I don't really have a bag in here to show you, but a little bag with just that first aid kit stuff in it. So what you should carry in a bag for a bad situation is a tourniquet. Highly recommend it. Bandages. Highly recommend. Small bottle of rubbing alcohol. Small bottle of betadine. Some gauze. Some I would highly recommend some ibuprofen or Tylenol, something of that nature. You should also carry something for allergic reactions or anything. But make sure you're prepared whenever you go out on the trails, because just because you think, oh, I'm experienced, I can get through this, it ain't no big deal. Well, that's what Aron thought. So always keep in mind to stay prepared and be ready for any situation. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little story, and I hope you learned something from it. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.